What's going on, everyone? This is political ideas and thoughts, and this is I don't know if I'm going to release this video or not, but some things have come up. So I'm going to try and not go too in depth with this video. There's going to be a rant, I guess. Not really a rant, but some things have come up. Basically, I really hate to make this political, but basically what's happening now is that the Democrats are doing another investigation against Trump. They're claiming that Trump is not, they're saying that Trump didn't handle the coronavirus situation very well. They think he's basically, that it costs lives. And my response is, this is not the time. This is not the time to be doing an investigation when the country is in turmoil. The country is dealing with an emergency, and the Democrats are doing an investigation into Trump. Like, if you want to investigate Trump when this is over, fine. But this is not the time or the place for it. This is why, and forgive me for saying so, but I think most of what the Democrats are doing, not all of them, but most of what the Democrats do, or what they're doing, is a blind emotional reaction against Trump and the Republicans. And I don't necessarily agree with everything Trump or the Republicans is doing. But this is not the place or the time for it. It's not the place or the time for the bickering, the partisanship that is happening. And some Democrats have stepped up, said, this is not the time. And we have to agree with our president. We have to, he's work with him and whatnot, which is, good. But some are doubling down, even considering the emergency that we're in as a country. This is not what we're supposed to be doing. I mean, what is happening here? Is it really that hard to just stop with the partisan bullshit for a couple months? Some people think that it's just them, some people might think that it's them being malicious or, just lying or whatever, but I think it's more a case of they're so emotionally reactive against Trump that they're blind to their own biases against Trump, and they're blind to the things that Trump does moderately well or does good. I'm not saying that he does everything good or that he's good at everything or whatever. I'm saying that instead of using their brains and their reasoning, which is, of course, part of this is because the reasoning isn't really done in the way people think it's done anyways, which is part of the problem. But other people that I know don't have this problem like they do. The media, a lot of Democrats have this problem more than most people. Now I get it. Trump is, an idiot. He does things that are dumb and all these other things, but this is not the time to really go into this. Trump has been doing this too, so this is not just on them. But he's mostly been focusing on dealing with the coronavirus. And the media has basically stated that they're not going to be holding his press. They're basically not going to be streaming or covering his live press conferences because they think he's wrong or whatever. Which is, if you think Trump is wrong, that's one thing. But to not cover his press conferences over the coronavirus is completely different. If you think he's wrong, then you need to debunk him. You need to hold these press conferences. You need to let him speak, and then you can counter his points later, so that people have context in order to see if he's right or wrong. That's not what they're doing. They're just blindly, emotionally reacting against Trump because they don't like Trump. And I don't like Trump either. I don't necessarily think that he's the best president or even that he's a good president. But I'm not going to do this either. This is ridiculous. This is getting to the point right now where literally there was a poll that was just released a while ago, actually. And I'm not a big fan of polls. There's some problems with polls and whatnot, but there was a poll that showed that people trust Trump. 44% of the population trusts Trump, while 43% trust the media. And those weren't just Republicans or Democrats. Those were also independents. And some say that, the reason why this is because the media is always screeching orange man bad against Trump. They're always going against Trump, which I don't necessarily think is true. I think it has more to do with the smears and the lies and the fear-mongering that the media has been doing over the past 4 or 5 years. And the wokeness as well, which actually hasn't been happening as much lately, which is something, I guess. So basically, Trump is, dealing with when Trump was dealing with the impeachment, which if you want to impeach Trump, that's fine. But when Trump was dealing with the impeachment, he was also trying to deal with the coronavirus. He started banning travel from China about that time. And he did downplay it eventually. Eventually he didn't. But so did the media, so did other people in New York. But the media only goes after him. Some people think that this is because they're just completely against Trump, but I don't necessarily think this is the case. I think it has more to do with the fact that Trump is so, what's the word I'm looking for here? So prominent that it's easier and more obvious when Trump does something rather than when like a governor of New York does it or something, for instance. Which is part of the problem as well. But Trump is now being investigated for his actions regarding the coronavirus. Now, if you want to investigate Trump over this, that's fine, but this isn't really the time or the place for it. after this mess is over, if you want to investigate Trump, which, to be honest, there really isn't a whole lot to investigate. I mean, the media was downplaying it. Some of the media was downplaying it. Some of them weren't. So we're basically just playing the blame game. Oh, Trump did this. Yeah, the media did the same thing. Some of the media did it. Not all of them. Maybe not even many of them. Some of them did. So it's one person did it, and the other person also did it, but we're not going to mention that. And part of that's because Trump's provenance, which is fine, but these are, these aren't just things that Trump does. This is something that other people have done literally until March 15th. The mayor of New York City was saying, everything's fine, just go party. Nothing's going to happen. And we all know where that is. Well, why do you think New York's situation is so bad right now? It's bad because they were told that it was fine. Of course, people are still partying and stuff like that. Apparently, there are videos where there's still massive crowds and things like this. You'd think they'd know better by now, but I guess people just, I don't care. They don't care because they figure the world's going to end, so whatever. Or B, they just don't care in general, which is really kind of it's not helping the situation either. Now, if you want to say that Trump's response was not the best, that's fine. It was, let me turn this off. It was, to some extent, it was a little belated. But, hold up. But at least he did do something. Even if you don't necessarily agree with what he did, he did something, and the immunologist, I don't know if he's the head of CDC, but he said that because of the travel ban of China, it could have probably avoided most of this from getting to the level that it could have. Which is good, but still. Anyways, I'm gonna end this now, because I pretty much said all I was gonna say anyways. So, I'd like to know your personal, opinion about this. What do you think should be done? You think he should be investigated? You think he should be impeached? Or do you, like me, think it's that not really the right time for any of this to happen? Leave a comment below or whatever. I don't necessarily think it's time for it, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully this will be over in a month. We'll see what happens with that. But we'll see. That's what I keep saying. Anyways, this is Political Ideas and Thoughts, and I'll talk to you on the next episode.